If you're a successful high-earning professional, at some point you're going to be approached by a private bank. And I warn you, when this does happen, it will feel amazing. You'll likely feel that you've made it. You'll likely be invited to all types of corporate hospitality to sip champagne with your relationship manager. This charismatic relationship manager will likely offer you privileged access to the best deals, the best rates, the best advice that money can buy for you and your family to ensure that you're looked after for generations and generations. Now, what isn't to like about those promises? Because after more than 2 decades of helping successful, high-earning professionals, I've witnessed firsthand the financial devastation that can occur when one's attention isn't entirely focused on what's really going on. Here, seemingly small decisions can have an absolutely profound impact upon your financial future that can be very difficult for you to perceive. I'm not saying that all private banks are bad. I've personally really loved the partnership which I have had with my own private bank for over 20 years. But the aim of this video is to break down exactly how private banks work, how they make their money, and how to best potentially use them for your own wealth creation strategy to help you navigate the ecosystem and get the best results for yourself and your family. So, first things first, let me clarify exactly what a private bank is. Private bank is where a financial services institution offers personalized services and products to their high net worth clients. The benefits of a private bank are really privacy, preferential pricing maybe, access to alternative investments specifically designed for the discerning wealthy individual, and really the one-stop shop that you can get your cash accounts, your term deposits, investments, and lending all from one place. Now, this all sounds really great, right? Well, yes, on the surface, but what if you actually scratch and go a little bit deeper and start looking at how a private bank actually works? Well, they sell mainly proprietary products. So this means that rather than going out to market and trying to get you the best investment for you or the best product, they're actually just putting you straight into their own. And the scary thing for investors is that the underperformance is often very hard to see on a micro level. And the difference between what you could be getting if you sort of independent solution, what you are getting from an internal solution, can compound over 5 or 10 or 20 years and ultimately eat away at your wealth. And this ties to the next disadvantage concern that I have potentially about private banks, because if they're being paid to sell their products, they potentially don't always have your best interest at heart. A private bank is compensated by the financial service institution, not from a fee from the client, which can create a blatant conflict of interest because they're incentivized to sell the products that give them the best bonuses, not necessarily build your wealth. Because as we all know, incentive can be the freight train of all motivation. Clearly understanding what the private banker is doing and how they're motivated will really help you get the best outcome for you and your family moving forwards. And because bankers work in a very high pressure, targeted and bonus-driven world, this can mean that their staff turnover can be extremely high because they're frequently poached or offered more at different banks. The friendly relationship manager that claim to be invested in your future will statistically potentially only be there for a few years before asking you to move to a different bank, essentially to switch products in order to generate more revenue for themselves. So high turnover when you are potentially building wealth for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years isn't necessarily a good thing. And my final point about private bankers would be that they can be potentially jack of all trades, master of none, because financial planning, for example, is an extremely complicated profession alone. So when you add lending, investment management, cash accounts, term deposits to this, it's extremely hard to be market leading in everything for everyone. If you go to a one-stop shop, you're going to give up the optimum results that you can get by shopping around and making sure that you get the best in each class. And to demonstrate what this all results in, I recently had a very nice senior professional, a French client, walk into my office and tell me about the name of his prestigious private bank. He had a portfolio of over 20 million euros, and I looked through it. My jaw literally sunk to the floor. Speculative single stocks, private equity, gated venture capital, structured products, and speculative shiny investments that really I could classify as no more than junk. It all looked and sounded very impressive on the outside, but it was a portfolio that I honestly wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. And the sad reality is that this incredibly hardworking and successful individual was blissfully unaware that he'd locked himself into years of potential risk and hundreds of thousands of banker fees, chipping away at his future wealth like termites without really understanding what this can do to his life strategy and trajectory. So what type of question can you ask them in order to better understand what you're going to get and avoid the horror stories of the type that I've just shared? Well, the first thing I'd want to know is how they're compensated, and can they explain any conflicts of interest? What are the aggregated fees, not just tip of the iceberg? Do they issue you a clear investment policy statement that helps you navigate away from potentially risky types of investments? And first and foremost, do they have a financial plan for you, a life strategy before getting involved in your portfolio? And another thing to consider is that private banks are not the only way that high earners can invest their money. There are lots of potential other alternatives available to you. Some of these are the obvious do-it-yourself, which many people like to do if it gives you energy and it's your hobby. You might want to think about structuring or everything yourself. Potentially the retail market typically use commission-based brokers or IFAs. Robo-advisors are very popular, particularly with the young. Traditional financial planners, private client stockbrokers or discretionary fund managers. Those with over 25 million can think about a multi-family office, or potentially, if they have greater assets, a family office. And certified investment fiduciaries or financial guides, which I like to think are like personal CFOs to you, the CEO, providing financial life management services, are probably the final option. And that final option is actually what I've been creating at AES for the past 20 years. So if you'd like more information on exactly how that works compared to private banks, you can download the PDF in the description or book a chat with me.